Nearly a week after 63 children died in Gorakhpur's BRD hospital, Mirror Now's relentless coverage is bearing fruit.
Yesterday we had shown you how there was a lot of garbage here. There were many plastic cups, there were many polythene bags. All of them were littered all around. Now I'll ask my video journalist Amit to pan and show you that this place has actually been cleaned up.
This comes after Mirror Now went on ground, camped at the hospital and exposed the apathy and indifference patients are subjected to. Garbage piled up in corridors, filthy, unswept wards, choked, overflowing toilets, and animals loitering in the hospital. And shockingly enough, poor ventilation and no fans in the encephalitis ward. After Mirror Now raised the issue 2 days in a row, the state finally got its act together. Corridors were swept clean, walls got a fresh coat of paint, but the Cleanup Act merely scratches the surface.
अपना स्टॉक जैसे ऑक्सीजन के बारे में बताया गया तो उसका वेल स्टॉक हमारे पास है हम लोगों ने एक चेन बना रखी है हम चाहेंगे कि वो चेन हमारी मेंटेन रहे.
So in this report, Pushpa Sales Private Limited has been found guilty of stopping oxygen supply. Dr. Satish, who's the HOD of anesthesia, has been guilty of not acting on reminders of Kapil Khan and procuring oxygen.
Critical questions are still left unanswered. It's been over a week, but there is still no clarity on how exactly 63 lives were lost that night. The district magistrate's report that Mirror Now has accessed blames the oxygen firm, the principal and the head of anesthesia for the massacre. What about all the top officials who were informed that the hospital owed money to the oxygen supplier? What concrete action is being taken to ensure that patient care improves at the hospital? And why no compensation yet for those who have lost their loved ones to the killer negligence of a few government officials? Mirror Now report.
Well, you're watching the Urban Debate on Mirror Now. I'm Faye D'Souza. Thank you for tuning in. We're staying with Gorakhpur. We understand a lot of other journalists have left Gorakhpur and returned to their head offices. Aishwarya is still in Gorakhpur, and this is the reason why. The cleanup has begun. The hospital has been swept, swabbed, hopefully disinfectant has been used, some rooms have been painted, fans have been installed, and the dogs have been removed. This has happened after a week of relentless coverage. One hopes that the hospital will continue to be cleaned on a regular basis, and this is not just optics for the media. But we have to still ask the questions about why the babies died. There are conflicting reports that have now come from the district magistrate. The district magistrate blames this entire problem squarely on the doctors who were in charge. The Indian Medical Association blames the media and says the media has hyped up the incident. It goes on to say that while the doctors may be guilty, we have voices from the Indian Medical Association who also say that the people in charge of payments should also be held accountable. All of them, this seems fairly vague. 63 patients, whether neonatal or adults, died in a hospital. How is it we still don't know why? Why is it all of these investigations still seem to be vague in their conclusions? While Mirror Now thanks the government of Uttar Pradesh for actually cleaning up and painting this hospital, we do hope that this attention to the hospital of BRD in Gorakhpur will continue. But the question we're asking now is, after so many days, why don't we know the truth yet? Why is the investigation taking so long? Why are the investigations and the reports inconclusive? Joining me on the show this evening, Narendra Taneja is the national spokesperson of the BJP, Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Shama Mohammed of the Congress Party, Dr. Sameer Dalwai, president of the Mumbai branch of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, Dr. Sanjeev Mehta, pulmonologist with Lilavati Hospital, Rifat Javed is the founder of Janta Ka Reporter, he's a senior journalist, and Sujay Kantawala is a senior lawyer. I want to go first to Aishwarya, who's still on the ground in Gorakhpur. Aishwarya, what sort of changes have you seen in the hospital today?
Yes. where we did see a lot of cleanup drive take place. We could see slowly and steadily things changing. We can see whitewash happening. We shot in the same ward where we had shot 2 days back, and we could see new fans being installed. Another thing which we shot was that the garbage which used to be lying all out there in the open was not there. So we do see some changes happening, some kind of cleanup drive taking place, though it's very slow and it's happening very steadily.
Well, Ashwarya, you're standing with family members of patients. Have they noticed an improvement in patient care over the last couple of days? What do they demand from the government right now? What is the situation like on the ground?
So Faye, even though on one hand we can see some kind of cleanliness taking place, the attitude of the doctors towards these patients has not changed. That is what it was the day when we arrived in Gorakhpur. Now I'll ask my camera person to pan the camera and I'll ask these people. तो अभी जैसे आप लोग आए हैं इधर, तो डॉक्टर्स का रवैया क्या रहता है आप लोगों की तरफ?
डॉक्टर्स का रवैया सही नहीं रहता है। वो अंदर अभी मैं पेशेंट को लेके गया तो बोल रहे बाहर जाओ वरना गैस ख़त्म हो जाएगा, ऐसे कह के ताने मारते हैं।
अजय, कई बार ऐसा भी सुनने में आया है कि आपको मेडिकल जब लेना होता है तो अंदर की उसमें कोई दवा मिलती नहीं है और बार बार ऐसे बोलते हैं कि बाहर
कोई दवाई नहीं मिलती है, बाहर चले आओ। हम तो 1-2 महीने से हैं कैंसर हॉस्पिटल में ही हैं, एक भी दवा अंदर से नहीं मिला है। हाँ, सारा बाहर से मिला है।
बाहर ऐसे इतनी दुकानें चलती कैसे हैं? ये जो इतनी सारी मेडिकल दुकानें हम देखते हैं,
हाँ, बाहर से ये लोग लिख देते हैं दवा
चलती है, हम ही लोगों से चलती है और कैसे चलती है। हाँ,
इनमें डॉक्टरों का कमीशन बना होता है। पेशेंट आया, पेशेंट को बस देखा, उसके बाद उनके पीछे उनके दलाल लग जाते हैं, आइए हम दिखाते हैं कहाँ दवा मिलती है, इस मेडिकल पर मिलेगी। उनका सबका अपना अपना मेडिकल है, उनके अपने अपने लोग हैं। वो जो डॉक्टर देखा उसका आदमी उस मेडिकल पे लेके जाता है, दवा लेता है। उसमें वो दवा 2 रुपए की है, वो दवा 10 रुपए में मिलती है, क्योंकि इनको कमीशन भी देना रहता है उनको।
अभी साफ सफाई की अगर बात करें तो थोड़ा बहुत तो थोड़ा सा
फर्क पड़ा है, थोड़ा सा,
लेकिन ओवरऑल अगर वैसे देखें तो पूरा
रैन बसेरा में है, वहाँ बिल्कुल नहीं है, इतने खटमल है उसमें। अगर एक आदमी को काटेगा दूसरा आदमी भी काटेगा तो बीमारी फैलेगा ही। वैसे रात को वहाँ कुत्ते भी आते हैं, घूमते हैं, काटने भी दौड़ जाते हैं हर किसी को, ये भी दिक्कत है थोड़ा।
और मैम जो उनकी बेडशीट होती है इतनी गंदी होती है, उसमें ब्लड गिरे होते हैं, और जब चेंज करने के लिए बोलते हैं तो बोलते हैं कि वो तो है ही नहीं स्टॉक में। तो अब बताओ क्या किया जाए।
So Faye, there you have it.
ये चीट देखिए, ये इमरजेंसी के लिए हमने थोड़ा कुछ हमको प्रेशर हो रहा था, इससे दबाव पड़ रहा है, हमने इमरजेंसी का ये कटाया, गया अंदर 14 नंबर में, उन्होंने ECG किया, सतीश नाम का कोई, और उनसे 150 रुपया मांग रहे हैं। क्या इमरजेंसी में ऐसा होता है? इमरजेंसी में होता है 150 रुपया लेने का, इसका हक होता है। ये हमारा ये रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर देखिए वहाँ पर।
So Faye, on ground, this is what these people have to say, that nothing has changed, be it cleanliness, be it the attitude of the doctors. That is what is most painful for these people, because they don't get treated properly by these doctors. Most of them have to get treated with either nurses or by junior doctors.
Ashwarya, ask the people there that we understand that the Chief Minister is going to visit the hospital tomorrow. What is their reaction to that? What do they expect from the Chief Minister and from his visit?
अभी चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब भी आने वाले हैं, तो आप लोगों को क्या लगता है कुछ बदलाव आएगा यहाँ पे? अगर कुछ कहना चाहें चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब को तो क्या बोलेंगे? क्या बदलाव चाहिए यहाँ?
यहाँ बदलाव चाहिए, साफ़ सफाई चाहिए। जो पेशेंट आते हैं उनको सही तरीके से उनका ट्रीटमेंट होना चाहिए, उनको सही तरीके से उनसे मतलब व्यवहार में पेश आना चाहिए डॉक्टरों को। ये ना हो कि मतलब बदतमीजी से पेश आए। कितने डॉक्टर्स हैं कि उनको सही से बोलने को नहीं होता है, डांटते हैं पेशेंट को।
आप बताइए क्या चाहिए?
साफ सफाई ज़रूरी है यहाँ पे, और गंदगी बहुत ज़्यादा है।
वार्ड नंबर 3 की बात करें तो
मैं तो यही चाहूँगा कि जो हमारे जो CM आने वाले हैं, बस उनसे यही रिक्वेस्ट मैं करता हूँ कि ऊपर से लेकर नीचे तक थोड़ा सा बस लगाम कस लें।
लगाम कसना चाहिए?
हाँ जी,
लगाम कसना चाहिए। क्या आप लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि एक सिस्टमैटिक फेलियर है यहाँ पे? मतलब ऊपर से चाहें तो कितना भी लोग बोल लें कि ऐसा करना चाहिए, बट नीचे की अगर हम ग्राउंड की बात करें तो वो होता नहीं है।
हाँ, नहीं होता मैडम, लेकिन हमारे आशा है कि CM साहब आएंगे तो हो जाएगा।
और आप लोगों को लगता है कि सिस्टमैटिक फेलियर है यहाँ पे?
कर रहे हैं कि
Aishwarya, this is not the first visit that the Chief Minister is making to the hospital. He visited.
तो बस उनको दिखाने के लिए होगा, फिर वही सिस्टम है। अगर जो इन पे जो कोई कड़ी कार्रवाई न की जाए,
हाँ देखिए, हाँ
के बाद फिर वो चले जाए, फिर
वो आएंगे जब तक उनका आना
वही है कि
चलेगी,
हाँ,
सब कुछ सिस्टम सही रहेगा, फिर आएंगे चले जाएंगे, फिर वही काम है।
तो जैसे ये चौथी विजिट है चीफ मिनिस्टर की, तो ऐसा तो नहीं है कि ऐसा हो और फिर बाद में चीजें फिर पलट जाएं?
नहीं, जो दवा यहाँ अवेलेबल है वो तो देना चाहिए, लेकिन वो कुछ नहीं देते हैं, लोग सीधा बाहर भेजते हैं। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए ना।
रुई के लिए मैडम भेजते हैं, एक रुई के लिए भी भेजते हैं, सिरिंज के लिए भी भेजते हैं, पट्टी के लिए भी भेजते हैं, हर चीज़ के लिए
सिरिंज जो अंदर मिलनी चाहिए वो भी नहीं मिल पाता है। अभी हम तुरंत 45 या 85 रुपए के लेकर आए, हमारा खुद पेशेंट अंदर है।
हाथ में जो ग्लव्स लगाते हो तो वो भी बाहर से मंगाते हैं, एक भी चीज़ अंदर से मान लीजिए नहीं मिलती है।
हमको ये कुछ हमें बाहर से ही लेना पड़ता है।
मैडम देखिए 400 एक्सीडेंट, सर फट गया पूरा।
सर फट गया और टाँका नहीं लगाया है?
2 घंटे हो गए।
2 घंटे हो गए।
2 घंटे हो गए और टाँका नहीं लगाया अभी तक।
लेके आए हैं।
दावा होता है कि मेडिकल में सबसे अच्छा उपचार।
देखिए दूसरी चीज़ ये, डॉक्टरों को जब से लगा है कि ऑक्सीजन की वजह से बच्चे मरे हैं, से बदला ले रहे हैं पेशेंटों से।
So Faye, there you have it. The moment the doctors got to know that the noose was tightening around their neck, now they have started taking out the anger on these patients.
Now, what does that mean? So, Aishwarya, I'm going to ask that question again because we lost the audio for a second when the gentleman next to you said, जब से डॉक्टर को पता चला कि ऑक्सीजन की वजह से डेथ हुई थी, what did he say? We couldn't hear him.
अभी जैसे डॉक्टर्स हैं, अभी उनको पता चला है कि थोड़ा थोड़ा ना उनके ऊपर दबाव बनने लगा है, तो क्या आपको ऐसा लगता है कि उनका जो गुस्सा है वो पेशेंट्स पे निकल रहा है?
हाँ, पेशेंट पे बिल्कुल।
Okay, that's all right. That feed seems to be a little unstable. We'll try and get Aishwarya back in again. Another visit from the Chief Minister around the corner. One hopes, and I'll be very honest with you viewers, I want to believe that the cleaning up that you're looking at on your screen is because we put a lot of pressure. I hope it's not in honor of the Chief Minister's visit, and that I also hope that whatever the reason may be, that the cleaning will continue and it's not a one-off thing that we're noticing in this hospital right now. Joining me on the show this evening, Narendra Taneja, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Mr. Taneja, the last time you were on the show, you did say, and I accept, quite respectfully, that we should wait for the investigation. Is this the investigation, the DM's report? Are we holding the doctors accountable here? What action will be taken by the government now going forward?
Well, this report, as you know, has come from the district magistrate of the area, and of course there are many things which are very evidently, are not kind of suggesting that everything is not okay there. Systematic failure, call it by kind of some people not really being as responsible as they should have been, given the kind of very, crucial responsibility that they have. So all that report has come, and as you know, the government has also already ordered an inquiry that is also underway. And once all these reports are in the hands of the government, in the meantime, the work has already started, as you can see on the ground there, and at the same, not only in Gorakhpur but across Uttar Pradesh, in all medical institutions. This is an educational institution, as you know, this is not a general hospital, and so in educational institutions, about 12 of them across the state, and also in hospitals. So that is started, but we are waiting for the final report to come. Once that reports come, then every single person who is responsible would be identified, held accountable, and whatever necessary action that need to be taken will be taken. But more important thing is, we inherited this system, and we see it is very evident that there was a lot of rot in it. So now we are working thoroughly from across the state to fix the problems, to make sure that the system is kind of accountable not only to the government but to the patients, to the people, and at the same time we pull it up so that it works as per to the satisfaction of the people. Let's not forget one thing there. We just got into power only just hardly 4 months ago. While here we are talking about a state which is home to 22 crore people, with not really a first world economy, very poor economy as a whole, and we have made many promises, and we are there to deliver on every single promise that we have made. And for us also, this is a great learning, in the sense that we didn't realize that the previous governments there, as you know, I don't want to get into that kind of debate yet.
No, please,
I'll see how the other people say. or the react. And
but Narendra Taneja, I'm very glad if we've played any part in this being a learning process for the current government. But with all due respect, Mr. Yogi Adityanath has been representative of this constituency for 20 years. It shouldn't be a learning curve for the government. You should have, in fact, hit the ground running in your first day because you're so familiar with the problem. How can we say that this has been a learning curve or this has been a learning process for the existing government?
No.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'll come to you. You will have to answer that question.
Yeah, just a minute. You know how system... No, just a minute. You know, you have asked the question. Please allow me to answer it. You see how system... Please allow me to answer. Please allow me. This was question addressed to me.
Yes. We're listening. Go ahead.
You see, the systems, basically, he was member of parliament from there. But when he was member of parliament from there, the government in power was a BSP earlier, then of Samajwadi Party. You see, he was just a member of parliament. He was not in power there. He has come to power only just a few months ago, hardly 4 months ago. And systems, but he is familiar. But at the same time, when you have to fix the system, you can understand. You run a channel, and I have had serious problem with I can hardly hear you. And these people have been trying to fix the problem in the last 30 minutes. Just a camera, and look, kind of struggle that these guys into. So systems take time to reform. Systems take time to change. But we are determined, and we are going to deliver to every single promise that is made to the people of Uttar Pradesh.
Well, I like that analogy that you've given us with the audio that you have in your ear. I promise you, if you give me 20 years, I will improve it drastically. It will be much better than it is right now.
You can see I'm holding my hand like this.
Yes. In 20 years, it will be much better, sir, I promise you. I'm going over now to Rifat Javed. Rifat Javed, Member of Parliament not in power. Now, members of Parliament are given a very clear budget every year to spend on their constituency. Over the course of 20 years, what does that budget add up to, Rifat Javed?
Look, I mean, every member of parliament, they get 5 crore rupees, in their MP LAT fund. Now, if you extrapolate that money over the period of 20 years that, Mr. Yogi Adityanath has been an MP from that area, it comes to around whopping 100 crore rupees. Now, let's look at the problem that we are grappling with. What are the problems that we are grappling with? We have been grappling with, utter filth in and around the hospital. And thank God, that you guys have been raising this issue. I've seen that, sort of how relentlessly your reporter, despite being in poor health, has been pursuing this case. And I'm hoping that the BJP MLA who was here night before last night, who promised that he will go and he asked for the 2 days, for him to actually get the problem sorted. And I'm hoping that, that what we are seeing today in terms of cleanliness drive, has been because of his intervention. Coming back to Yogi Adityanath, look, it doesn't take a lot of money, to go to the hospital and make things happen. The cloud that an MP wields, in any constituency, regardless of which government is in power. If he was serious about the lip service he was doing for last, so many years, he could have actually gone there. And guess what happened? We have been on this story for last 5 to 6 days. More than 100 children have died. 100 children. Yes, in any sane democracy, a death of one child due to the system negligence would have forced the individual to resign. This individual, what prevented him from just going there and camping and saying, I'm not leaving Gorakhpur until, everything is kind of normal. He doesn't do that. He has got so many other, stupid ideas in his mind, which he's been kind of, doing that. He's talking about mandir and masjid and thana and Janmashtami. He doesn't care about 100-odd children. Whose children are they? They are our children. I mean, we are talking about the magistrate report. When are we going to talk about the accountability? He is the chief minister. For how long they can, hide behind the 20 years, not being in power? This is just ludicrous.
Yes. It is ludicrous. And I'm going to bring in Sujay Kantawala. Sujay has been with us through this entire coverage. Sujay, ludicrous is a good word to use at this point, because we have national television has to go on about it for 5 days to have jadu pocha in a hospital.
Absolutely, and it's only because of your relentless coverage and you're bringing before all of us your exemplary journalism that today the entire country is watching the state of affairs in this hospital. But you see, now the DM has given a report. He has indicted doctors.
Yes.
So what will happen is that the doctors who are now surviving over there, the remaining doctors, now they are taking out their frustration and anger on the patients. You took the interviews of certain patients. They said they exposed the unholy nexus between chemists and doctors.
Yes.
So, first of all, the doctor is rude to you. Then when you want even a swab or a syringe or a simple medicine which is supposed to be free and which is supposed to be provided, that also you have to go outside to that particular chemist because that dalal takes you to that particular chemist. Then that chemist overcharges you. So that systemic rot that has crept into the system is from the starting of the hospital. So you encounter the dogs, then you encounter the bed bugs, then you encounter the mosquitoes, and ultimately the doctor. And after that, God willing, you will be saved if you survive. So this is the kind of mindset that has to change. So I'm hoping that the Chief Minister, when he visits the hospital tomorrow, goes to each and every room, goes to each and every toilet, and goes to each and every department. And personally, he's a very intelligent man. Personally, he asks questions. See, the perception has to be that he is really and actually concerned. And that can only be reflected by his visit tomorrow. So let us wait and see how his visit is going to pan out tomorrow.
Because, while it's all fair to let us wait and see, 8 children died today. So many days after this has happened. 8 children died today according to the ANI report, and these numbers only come out in the afternoon, so we're not counting the ones that happened post noon.
May I just say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Now, these 8 children that died today, I would request that the postmortem should be done because the postmortems are not being done. We need to know the cause. No one seems to be, the DM is not a competent authority. It is only the postmortem report that is going to determine the actual nature of the cause of the deaths. Because postmortem report will reveal whether it was lack of oxygen or some other disease, and that is not happening because all the parents were told to take away their toddlers in blankets.
Yes.
And that was a pathetic sight to see. Now there should be postmortems conducted to see that what about these 8 fatalities that happened even after the cleanup has started. That is what is important. And therefore I have always said, Frey, that we should have a retired High Court judge. I don't trust the DM who is a bureaucrat type of person. I trust an impartial judicial inquiry into this whole thing.
Yes. In fact, let me just, the DM, as we know, and we kept talking about it on this channel, had received the notices and was fully in the know about the fact that the bills had not been paid. So while he has submitted his report, we must, as anyone reading this report, consider the fact that he might be culpable as well, and he's been put in charge of a report. This is what his report said. The Lucknow-based firm Pushpa Sales shouldn't have stopped supply of liquid oxygen given the conditions, in spite of the fact that they had not been paid. It goes on to very clearly blame the doctors in charge. Dr. Satish in the pediatric ward did not pay attention for the complaint of the AC not been working. He then went to Mumbai on August 11th without permission. Dr. Kumar and the chief psychiatrist, Dr. Ganjaran Jaiswal, willfully did not maintain a record of the purchase of oxygen cylinders. There was multiple instances of rewriting in the stock book of the oxygen. The log book was not maintained correctly. It also questions the absence of the then principal, Dr. Mishra, and the head of the anesthetic department, Dr. Satish Kumar. There's another report from the IMA, and this is not linked to government. The Indian Medical Association, which is an association of doctors, say, first of all, the media has hyped up the incident. To the Medical Association, may I say, you are welcome. We are glad to have done it. It also goes on to say Dr. Rajiv Mishra and Dr. Kafil Khan seem to be guilty of this particular incident. To the doctors on my panel, Dr. Mehta, this is not looking good for the doctors right now.
It's definitely not looking good. And I just heard Mr. Kantawala tell us, we first meet the dogs, the mosquitoes, the bed bugs and doctors. And look, doctors are being classified at that level. It's a matter of great sorrow, shame. My own feeling is, yes, it doesn't look good for doctors. I've heard those reports. I myself worked in government hospitals. I know there's a lot of stress and strain on doctors. So, and I'm not here to defend anybody. Clearly, there has been mistakes made by a lot of doctors, and I don't know all the details. So I'm saddened, shamed, and feel terrible about the whole thing. But I would take it to a bigger picture. I think from whatever I'm hearing, and that is that there is no medicine available. That's no cleanliness. There is no facilities for it, no syringes,
no gauze.
No gauze. No, doctors really, I mean, I don't know where you look at it, but the way I know hospitals are run, this is run by administrators. To me, the rot from cleanliness to purchase to supply to maintenance to fans to everything is essentially an administration problem, which is run by bureaucrats.
Do you think this is a witch hunt for doctors at this point?
I think it's unfair for me to take any side one way or the other. Usually it is, because they have no defense. The bureaucracy is much better protected. The politicians are better protected. But that being said, I'm not here to say that they do not have any faults. And if they're behaving poorly with the patients, that's poor behavior.
Dr. Samir Dalwai, is this a witch hunt for doctors?
Of course it is. Give me 2 minutes. I'd like to say 2 issues. To the gentleman who said that doctors, the members of the, unfortunately, those parents who have lost their children, I can understand their anger and I can understand their grief and I share it. But I have to just mention 2 things. I'm a private practitioner. If something goes wrong in my nursing home, I own it. I decide how many patients I will see a day. I decide how many staff I will employ, and I decide the services and I profit from it. But when you go to a government hospital or a municipal hospital, please understand that the government decides what that hospital should do, how big that hospital should be, how many patients will be seen, how many beds will be allotted, and the government decides how many doctors will be hired to take care of those many patients. I challenge you on this debate here on national television. I challenge the government to put on record what is WHO's recommendation for number of doctors per number of patients per doctor in a government hospital. Please put that on the table and then let us ask whether doctors are rude. Suraj Bhai said some time back about doctors being rude. Sure, sir, you are a senior solicitor. You may be handling 10 cases a day in the Supreme Court, and I'm sure you do a brilliant job of it. How about you handling 100 cases a day? When you yourself say that your limit is to handle, say, 10, you could be pushed to handle 20, 30 in an extraordinary situation. How about handling 100 every day? And are you then going to be very, very calm and composed? I don't think so. The other point I'd like to make, let me just
put this further. You should make Sujay Kantawala handle 100 cases a day without ACs, without pens, without paper, without printer.
Let me complete this. I'd like to complete this, please. Give me a minute more. A doctor, whenever I as a parent, if my child is unwell, the moment somebody is unwell, we think it's the doctor who's going to save him. Correct, that's right. The doctor is the one who's been taught medical science, who knows how to examine the patient, analyze the history, analyze the symptoms, the signs, treat the child, get the child all right with this knowledge. He is not a person who built that building there. He is not a person who's decided how many other doctors he will have. He's not a person who decides where the medicines will be bought from. All these tenders, we know who decides these tenders. The doctor who's working there is an employee of the government. He has been kept there by the government. His job is, once the patient is brought to him, he has to see the patient, use his medical knowledge and his humanity to be nice to the patient and to use his medical knowledge to get the patient better. Both the things. He has to be nice, he has to be very polite, and he has to use his medical knowledge. But not if he's supposed to handle 20 children or 20 patients and he's made to handle 200 patients every day.
One more quick question. If I may, one more quick question to Dr. Sanjeev Mehta. You read both of the reports. I handed them to you. These were written in Hindi. Our team has translated them to English. Do either of these conclusively tell us why 63 children died in one night?
No, they don't. They don't tell us. They just, I think, and you rightly put it, and I completely agree with Dr. Dalwai. There's a lot of witch hunting. Again, I don't want to get judgmental, but I will take it further from there. If any of you have worked in government hospitals, attended to patients on the bed, in the floor, 3 on top of one bed, you will realize what stress they are under. It's just not the doctor who's providing anything at all. It's all being provided by government. Please, the fault is clearly with the administration.
Right. Let me bring in these two voices, Ghanshyam Tiwari of the Samajwadi Party and then Shama Mohammed. Ghanshyam Tiwari, respond to the two things here. Narendra Taneja saying that this was inherited by the current government, that they've had 4 months to try and fix it. They have all of the intention to fix it in the future. It will take some time. Why did the BJP inherit such a bad system, Ghanshyam Tiwari? Was the Samajwadi Party breeding a system of corruption in Uttar Pradesh that has caused these deaths?
Well, in a time of tragedy, I want to engage in plain speaking. The reality of the situation is Samajwadi Party got a scandal-ridden ambulance system, a public healthcare system that was completely fractured, and we did, with all humility and honesty, I would say, we did spend 5 years working to better that system every day. Even with respect to acute encephalitis syndrome,
let's just go back to the British Raj and start from there.
No. I'm starting with 2012. I'm starting from 2012. So from 2012, we systematically worked even on AES, acute encephalitis syndrome. We involved global agencies to do good research to figure out a line of action.
Did you find a line of action?
Yes, I'm defining that. As far as JE is concerned, Japanese encephalitis is concerned. Let's not talk over one another. Let us not talk over one another. As far as Japanese encephalitis is concerned, we created the immunization program for Japanese encephalitis. With respect to AES, we realized that the system has to be decentralized. The first line of defense has to be PHC. 108 PHCs were earmarked.
PHCs are shut. There are locks on the PHCs.
That is now. But that is now. I agree, but in the season, 108 PHCs were earmarked. Public awareness campaigns were run that the PHCs would be first line of defense. Pediatricians were posted. Okay. Everything was not hunky-dory. But I said we defined a line of action, and there was systematic follow-up. At no point, let me conclude. Final point. Let me conclude. Final point. At no point we confuse policy and follow-up with the propaganda.
Right.
The only charge I have with the current government is, in the past 5 months, they have succumbed to the very simple and convenient reason that everything is a legacy, and they have engaged in policy.
You just did it yourself.
On propaganda,
you said you inherited a bad system. You just did it yourself.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying one aspect of the system. I said we inherited a scandal-ridden ambulance system. I didn't say we inherited a completely bad system. I said we systematically worked to improve a few aspects of the system.
Okay, all right. So here's my question, Ghanshyam Tiwari. Here's my question. There is a 200-bed hospital that we are now talking about that caters to millions of people in Uttar Pradesh. Did your government sanction a second hospital, increase the number of beds, increase the facilities, increase the number of ventilators, increase the number of pediatricians, increase the budgets of this hospital, increase the budgets of healthcare? Did you do any of these things?
Not just that. If you look at overall Uttar Pradesh budget, the overall budget this year, for example, was 3.84 lakh crores. 54% of that goes to salaries alone. 17,000 crores get spent on hospitals, which range from your entire ambulance system to medical colleges to PHCs. So if you see across board, if you say one hospital in particular, I do not have ready statistics like you to say what we did, what we did not.
I wish you
but
did
when you look at the money that was spent, the money that is being spent right now, 17,000 crores, is 9% more than what was spent last year. We systematically enhance the budget. We focus on the ambulance system, and in case of AES alone, we focus on PHCs. So as I said,
so why is the state of affairs so bad? I don't buy this at all.
No, you're not. You don't.
How can you have a hospital? No, excuse me. How can you have a hospital with dogs running around and say you did a good job?
There are two things. Let us understand. There are two things. One, the policy making is with the state, but the administration of a hospital is with the local system of doctors. There are no bureaucrats at the local level. So let us not say that.
No. So now he wants to go after the doctors.
No, I'm not saying that. You want to hear what you want to hear. I am saying the blame has to be fixed at the level of bureaucracy and politics. I'm not going after the doctor.
I wish we could change the hashtag of the show to hashtag nobody killed these babies.
No, that's not true.
These babies just dropped dead of their own accord. Nobody's fault. Nobody did anything wrong.
It is the lack of action at the level of politicians that killed these babies. But let us not go around and say that everything is bad, so there's nobody
to blame. If you all keep passing the buck, we will be going round and round. I'm waiting for one of you to say, yes, I'm very sorry, this was our fault. We will make sure it never happens again. There isn't anyone willing to say that. Shama Mohammed of the Congress Party. Where are the rest of the Congress Party ministers? No photo ops today.
It's not about photo ops, Faye. First, let me congratulate you for relentlessly following this up and getting this place cleaned up, getting this hospital cleaned up. But you must understand that medicine is not about cleaning. Cleaning is one aspect, but what is the core? There's some I'm sorry, I'm getting some echo. So are there any changes? It's just a superficial change does not work, number one. Number 2 point is the DM who gave the report today had been CC'd in the 20 mails that went to the hospital. So how can he give a report in which he says financial irregularities when we all know the reason behind is the oxygen supply? So they should be, like the other person mentioned, there should be an impartial inquiry into this by a sitting judge. That is what should happen. And the DM directly goes up to the health minister. The health minister should step down at any cost, and there should be an impartial inquiry. Number 3 is the primary healthcare centers. One should have proper primary healthcare centers to have to prevent many of these patients from coming here. You know, this hospital is 150 kilometers away. So we need a complete overhaul, and there should be a political will. I think the North Indian states should take the example of the southern states where public healthcare is way ahead. So it's not that we are outside India, we are all in India. But I must say there should be a political will from all of us, from all politicians, to clean up the rot for our children's sake, that we have good public health care. You know, as a mother, I'm upset that what is happening there is terrible, and it should never happen to anybody. So instead of bickering, we all should sit together and sort this problem out. And first and foremost is the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is not taking the blame. Say that yes, there has been an oxygen lapse, there has been a problem, and we're going to fix it. But till today, they are not saying anything about it. They just keep saying that it is, garbage, dirt. But garbage and dirt, like you mentioned, for 20 years, he was the Gorakhpur MP. Why didn't he clean it up? And also, since our Prime Minister is very persistent on Swachh Bharat, what is happening there? Why was Gorakhpur not cleaned up? So let's not do this politicizing thing on one side, but let also the Bharatiya Janata Party accept the blame and say, yes, we are going to turn this thing around. Unless and until they accept this, we are not going anywhere. They just want to say that it's not us, it's them, and they, that doesn't work. We need to think about the future and our children. And also one other thing, coming from the medical fraternity, I'm very upset that the doctors are blamed on this. We doctors work very hard, and we are also being kicked sometimes, beaten up by patients. So that is very wrong, putting the blame on the medical fraternity. We work very hard. So this blaming the medical fraternity is completely wrong, and the bureaucrats and politicians should take the blame for what has happened.
Coming back, I think we all agree on one thing, that we all need an impartial judicial inquiry, because that commission of inquiry is going to then talk to the doctors, the nurses, the ward boys, and the people who already came on your channel. They are the actual sufferers on the ground.
You're very right, because the question to be asked tonight is this. This Chief Secretary report that's taking place right now, we know that we have a reporter on the ground, we know the Chief Secretary is not in Gorakhpur at this point. Who's talking to the parents who lost children? Are they being interviewed? Are they being interviewed on camera? Is that being documented? Because those are the people who will actually tell you the truth about what happened there. Not the district magistrate who has notices on his desk which he ignored. Not the principal secretary, not the DG. But the parents who lost children will tell you the truth. Samita.
The whole issue is we need to find out what is the reason that unfortunately killed so many children, and that's going on. And that can only be found out, as we mentioned the other day on your show, Faye, if post-mortem could have been done that time. We don't know why the bodies were just bundled away so unfortunately, and parents were just asked to take the child away. Why was no attempt made to find out the medical reason? Yes. And then if you found out that the doctor has neglected his duty, he has given a wrong kind of medicine, please hang him. For sure, hang him.
This is an important question.
At least find out what killed the poor child.
I agree with Dr. Dalwai over here, and that's why I said earlier that this unfortunate deaths that took place today, Today we had about, you said about 8 deaths today. Those bodies, there should be post-mortem conducted, because at least that will throw some light, because previously all those bodies were given away. Right. Now that evidence is gone.
So let me pick up what Dr. Dalwai said. Dr. Mehta, you're saying basically string up the doctor if he has prescribed wrong medicine, Absolutely. If it is a wrong diagnosis, if there is neglect and delay in treatment, but not for fans and not for lack of payment. This is not a doctor's fault. What about the principal in charge? Wouldn't that be his fault?
Oh, yes, of course. He's an administrator.
Technically an administrator.
He's no more. But the thing, I've been saying this in the last time I was on your program, is that, okay, so somebody is saying it is oxygen, somebody says it is the doctor, somebody says it's administration. But what to me is most important is that 100 people have died and we don't have a reason. So one, we don't know what's happening. Two, how do we prevent it if we don't know? Three, I'd like you to go and look at the other hospitals and see if this rot extends and do a surprise check and see if this is a pandemic that is happening of rot within the medical system. And I think that's where your bigger problem is. And if this is all JE, then you and I need to be worried because this is going to spread across. So clearly there is a problem. I think forget all this blame game, get to the root of the problem.
And to add to what Dr. Mehta says, that the more there is delay, the more the evidences will be lost.
The more evidence will get buried.
That is what I'm worried about.
Right. Narendra Taneja, you know, yesterday we had Dr. KK Agarwal of the IMA in the studio along with the other doctors. He made an excellent point. He said, have we done an audit? And I've been asking for this for a while. Have we flown a team of the best and the most qualified doctors in the country down to Gorakhpur to figure out what's wrong, what sort of equipment is needed, how many more ventilators do we need, how many beds do we need, what sort of medicine is missing? So instead of writing reports, are we stocking that hospital? Are we making sure we don't lose 8 children a day or 10 children a day or 20 children a day? Now, I agree that we had to celebrate Janmashtami, which we did. Now it's done. We had to celebrate Independence Day, which we did. Now it's done. Now can we focus on fixing this problem and saving the children? Narendra Taneja?
Yeah, first of all, I can barely hear you, and I could barely hear my co-panelists, so I'm just guessing. But let me try. You see, as I said, you know, I also heard you spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. You see, they cut down the budget, health budget by 9%. And there were lots of, they didn't really care about these education institutions, and the result is what it is. But as I said earlier, I promised, and we promise as BJP, we will fix this problem, we'll turn it around, and we will make it to bring it to the level which is acceptable to the people and also service the people better. We feel absolutely aghast, shocked, but you know, from what we inherited, and we are trying our level best. In terms of what to do, the way forward, of course, we are already consulting with the best people within the state, also outside the state. Whosoever is also willing, we are also consulting. And at the same time, we trying to find a long-term, a sustainable solution. Because you see, and also as I said, we are also learned from this this particular thing. But at the same time, we know the Congress party, when they joined hand with Samaj Party, their slogan was 27 saal UP behal. A Samajwadi Party and Congress should never forget that. For long 27, this was a Congress slogan. And for long years and years, only what they did was to serve their political master.
Why are you bringing this when there are children involved here? Mr. Narendra Taneja, I think you don't care about the children. Today, I can say that the Bharatiya Janata Party does not care about children. You're bringing in politics out here. We are talking about children's death. You're talking about
why do you say that? I mean, this is your responsibility. If you are sitting in the anchor seat, you are saying you are not responsible. No, you are irresponsible. I am shocked that a responsible anchor should be talking like this. You want a tamasha. You are not interested in serious debate. Let us have a serious debate. You are interested in tamasha only to push up your TRP. You don't want a serious debate. I'm sorry, you are not a serious anchor. No, you are.
Let me intervene. Narendra Taneja, 1 second. Mr. Taneja, that was Shama Mohammed of the Congress party you were talking to, not me.
Your channel, you do whatever you want.
Mr. Taneja, don't get upset. Mr. Taneja, give me a minute. You're talking to Shama Mohammed of the Congress party and not to me.
Let's have a serious discussion.
Mr. Taneja.
First fix your system. Your system is not functioning. Your system is not functioning.
I apologize.
Fix up this system.
Okay, all right. Narendra Taneja.
Fix this system. I can barely hear you.
Obviously. Mr. Taneja, can you hear me now?
Please be responsible. You say you are saying BJP is not responsible. What kind of statement is this? How can you...
Mr. Taneja, if you stop for a moment, you might be able to hear the few of us clearly. You were talking to Shama Mohammed of the Congress. My God, he won't stop.
Coming from the channel of a
Mr. Taneja.
You can shout.
Mr. Taneja, that was Shama Mohammed of the Congress party. You were not talking to me. You were talking to the representative of the Congress party. Mr. Taneja, okay. Mr. Taneja, can you hear me? Mr. Taneja, can you hear me? Mr. Taneja, can you hear me? Mr. Taneja, would you stop talking for a moment so you can hear me? He's still upset.
Anyway, can I say something?
No, I have to clear this up because this is a misunderstanding. I apologize to our viewers, but this needs to be cleared up. Mr. Taneja, can you hear me? Mr. Taneja.
He's not stopping. To basically paint the entire party in black.
Mr. Taneja, please, sir, for a moment.
I'm not those participants who will accept.
Can we send him a text message? Mr. Taneja, you were speaking with Shama Mohammed of the...
Then I'm interested. If you want a tamasha debate, I'm not interested in a tamasha debate.
Mr. Taneja, that was the Congress party, not the channel. You were talking to the representative.
Samajwadi and Congress, Mr. Taneja. You started. I didn't make it a political debate, Mr. Taneja.
Okay, no, I really, you know, yeah, Mr. Taneja, Shama Mohammed, just cut Shama Mohammed's audio for a second.
I'm not a doctor, I'm a politician.
Mr. Taneja.
I am a politician,
Mr. Taneja.
I will talk politics.
Mr. Taneja. Mr. Taneja, can you hear me? Please say yes or no. Mr. Taneja, can you hear me?
You are trying to paint the entire party.
Mr. Taneja, please don't get upset. You're getting needlessly emotional. Mr. Taneja, that was the Congress party. Mr. Taneja, I know opposition all sounds the same to you, but that was the Congress party. That was not the channel. You were talking to Shama Mohammed, spokesperson of the Congress party, who made that statement, not the anchor of the show. This is me. I am the anchor of the show. The questions we were asking you were very different. You're reacting to a statement made by the opposition, not by the channel. Can you hear me now?
No, Congress is a tiny, small regional party. They used to be in power. If they are making such a, you have to allow me, give me time. I mean, if they are saying this kind of, let them say.
But Mr. Taneja, you should then, you just flew off the handle without even fully understanding who you were talking to. You should take back your statements. Mr. Taneja. Okay, all right. Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. For Mr. Taneja's benefit, Shama Mohammed and I will introduce ourselves before we ask questions. 1 second, give me a second. Narendra Taneja, here is my question to you.
I can barely hear you, please.
Please get that fixed. I'm going to ask my team to get that fixed. Mr. Taneja, here's my question to you. If you can hear me, you could hear the representative of the Samajwadi Party fairly clearly. If you can hear me. Beef shops in Uttar Pradesh were shut in 2 days. Demonetization in our country was done overnight. Can we not show the same conviction when we clean up this problem? Why is it that sweeping and swabbing and disinfecting a hospital takes over 4 months? Why is it that we're still saying we're going to catch up, we'll try? At least can you give me a deadline? Let me tell you also that the primary health centers that you talked about are still locked in Gorakhpur for the last week when our reporter has been there. Even today they're locked, Mr. Taneja. How long does it take to get that up and running? Can you give us, and this shouldn't take a very long time. Why is it taking that long? And why aren't we showing the same conviction?
No.
Now this is the channel asking the question, not the Congress party.
You asked the question, if I got you. Yeah. You see, first of all, we are talking about an educational institution. The hospital under question is a medical college. It's a medical college. It's an educational institution. It's not a general hospital, which is basically, administered and governed by the medical education department of the Uttar Pradesh government. Number two, when we talk of the health overall, when we moved in 4 months ago, we saw that the previous government of Samajwadi Party, they cut down the health budget by 9%. We immediately fixed that problem and we increased the budget by 9%. Number two, we also looked around and basically saw what was the problem, because for us education, including medical education and healthcare, are priorities. When you look at, for instance, the health budget of Uttar Pradesh on GDP basis is among one of the best in the country. It's about 4.5%. So looking at the situation, education, health, women, safety, we started basically working on it, and we fast-tracked everything. But you would please appreciate when Congress said 27 years UP Behal, allow us some time, allow us at least 27 months to fix the problem. What we have inherited was absolute chaos, complete darkness across the state. There was no government practically of Samajwadi Party. We are trying to fix that problem.
Told my team that you can hear me clearly, and you've been able to hear me clearly for a while. Can you hear me now? to respond to the first statement that you made, saying you found with great distress that the previous government had cut the budget and you fixed that. Let me point out to our audience that despite the fixing that has been done, the budget is still down by 618 crore rupees this year than it was last year. And this is government data. Also, my team is bringing in other data to actually match with every statement you have made on the show right now. So if you're making statements on the show, we have to be very careful about the fact that it matches data. The budget for healthcare is down 618 crore rupees this year in Uttar Pradesh. There's more data coming in. But I want to come back to Dr. Sanjeev Mehta, this business of being an education. One second, before we turn it into, go back into politics. Dr. Mehta, this business of it being an education institution.
He has been talking about Congress party. I need to respond. I need to rebut to that.
One second. I want to hear what Dr. Mehta says.
I just got in, but you have to allow me to respond to what
I will allow everybody to respond. I will allow everybody to respond if everyone just stops and listens for my voice. Dr. Mehta.
Yeah. So I really don't see why that is a big difference whether this is an educational institute or not. On the contrary, it should be better. Is this the education we are giving to our students, whoever we are trying to educate? So clearly that's a very sad thing to say. But it's a big institute. It should be better taken care of, and we should ensure that our students are getting much better care. In fact, even abroad, look at Mumbai. For the best care, you go to a place like KEM. So I would like that to be much better off. Yes, Samir.
Yes. I think let's keep the politics aside. Let's look at it from a medical point of view. Well, a tragedy has happened. Innocent lives have been lost. If you have to look at it as a medical failure, let's start with analyzing and finding out the true causes of why these children died, whether it was because of a bad virus or whether it was because of a lack of infrastructure or negligence on part of the doctors. Whatever, let's have an audit. Let's then work backwards and try and sort all these problems out. If it was because of lack of infrastructure, let's get back and hold the administration who's supposed to order that infrastructure accountable for what happened and make them improve the infrastructure so that that's taken care of. It's because the doctors, the hospitals are understaffed, there are less nurses per patient as required. Let's look at hiring these more doctors and let's do whatever it takes. If you have to give them a better salary, you have to give them a better staying facility, do it. After that, if they go and do something unaccountable or illegal, like a private practice, if it is not allowed, or running chemist shop, please hang them. Who's stopping you? It's a government's hospital. You have to run that. But let's go back and fix up all the things instead of going back politically and blaming one another. It's lives which have been lost. And as Dr. Mehta said, have we learned how to prevent the next child from dying? That's not happened at all. Let's get back and let's focus on this. Let's keep the politics out.
So let me just, for our audience's benefit, take you through the numbers. As was quoted by Mr. Taneja, he was wrong. The 2016-17 budgeted medical and public health care budget was 17,828. This year, it's 17,181. It brings it down by 647. The energy budget was 32,835. This year, it is 17,728. That's down 49% from the previous year. Mr. Taneja, go ahead.
Yes. You see, the budget that was presented, you see, when we say we increase it by 9%, you have to wait for another 3 months when the supplementary budget is coming, and when this is going to be increased, and you will see that reflecting. Number two, as the UP government, at the initiative of the UP government, and you see, we are also bringing All India Institute of Medical Sciences.
When you said
we have already 9%. It has been budgeted. 9% increase has been budgeted. 9% increase has been already budgeted and announced in the last budget. 9%. And the All India AIMS is also being set up there. You see, and not only one in Uttar Pradesh, there are plans to set up more AIMS there. And the central support for similar hospitals, we are also talking with some central bodies and organizations, including enterprises, to come and set up medical infrastructure there. So there are a number of new initiatives are being launched. You see, we are at the end of the day, we are accountable and responsible to the people of Uttar Pradesh. We know the economy of Uttar Pradesh is very small. We know that lots of people in Uttar Pradesh still live in the fourth world. I mean, we can't compare them with people in Maharashtra and all that. Lots of people, unfortunately. And we are there on the ground, and we have committed to the people. So our commitment is to the people so that they re-elect us. and we must deliver, and we are going to deliver on every single point and keep asking questions to us along the way. All the 4.5 years that we are in power of Uttar Pradesh, you are welcome to do that. All that I'm saying is, don't expect us to kind of, in such a kind of, a tragedy, that come out with the final report. You see, in 2 days and 3 days, media can do it, some NGOs can do it, but the government, which involves, some doctors also working part of the team, it takes some time, because once the report comes out, we want that a report is something that which is absolutely final, and something that we can basically use as a basis in order to improve the infrastructure in that educational institution, and beyond that, including in hospital in that area, and also 34 districts which are worst affected in eastern part of Uttar Pradesh. That is our commitment. We are not doing whatever we are doing only to come and explain or to defend us in the television channels. We are there to defend us in the eyes of the people. That's the most important. As an Indian and as a UP person, that's my home state, I feel I feel terrible, very hurt to see what's happening there and the kind of state that we inherited. These three political parties, UP, Congress was right when Congress said 27 saal UP behal. Congress was absolutely on the spot. But then they joined hands with the same party which destroyed Uttar Pradesh. So I think we are trying to fix it in political debate. They can always come out with their own argument. They can blame us. That is fine.
I need to rebut.
Just FYI, that Shama Mohammed of the Congress Party.
I need to rebut because he's been going on with this. Now I need the... No, this 27 saal UP Bihar, he cannot keep on saying these things about the Congress Party has not done anything. We have done enough and more, and we have not been in UP. Number two, he says that when the BJP comes in power, everything will change. The other states which have the very bad public health care is Madhya Pradesh, where they have been in power for 15 years, Rajasthan. So don't say that, don't keep blaming the other party before you for everything. Anything is wrong, the Bharatiya Janata Party says, we got it.
We are talking about Uttar Pradesh. Congress said 27 saal behal.
What's happening in Madhya Pradesh?
This is what the Congress said.
So why don't you change it?
27 saal
Why did you change the healthcare in Madhya Pradesh?
We are not talking of government of other states. So if you want to discuss the whole country, let's have a separate debate. But you said, didn't you say 27 saal UP behal? On what basis? What was your research? Why did you say that? You must have done some homework. Why do you want to disown it now? Just because you have joined with Samajwadi Party. Just because you joined with Samajwadi Party, you want to disown your own statement.
But I think there has to be some rationality in giving time for people. This cannot be a debate where you allow the BJP person to keep.
I'm just going to. I think that for our audience watching at home, first of all, allow me to apologize, please, for what is happening, on the panel right now. Let me also remind our panelists who can. One second. One second. Just 1 second. Let me remind our panelists that 63 children died in one night, which is why we are here. And since then, over 100 babies have died. Let us, if not anything else, if collectively you have failed and caused
lost their life over the last 5 years.
There is a limit.
Collectively, these politicians have lost and failed, and that is why we are having to have this conversation. To think that they would sit around today and fling allegations at each other when none of them have done a job that was better than the previous one is appalling.
If you have a question, you should allow to respond.
Yeah, now they can hear each other. Now they can hear each other. To think that for a mistaken identity, Narendra Taneja then went on to completely slander the name of this channel that has done nothing but focus on the ground realities of what's happening, to then turn around and say we're a channel that is only chasing after TRPs, we're a channel that is only out to malign other people, to then also talk about the larger group that this channel comes from, I think was very short-fused, Narendra Taneja. And I think we should spend more time listening to each other. And if we are talking about how...
Well, you can make your judgment, it's your channel. You control this. This
party has destroyed the administration in Uttar Pradesh. He keeps intervening and pointing fingers at Samajwadi Party. The reality is, for past 5 months, his party has engaged in propaganda, no policy.
I was engaged in journalist, so I know the game very well.
They have gone from love jihad, meat ban, and all the nonsense of anti-Romeo, etc.
All right, okay, focus. Okay, stop it. Politicians, stop it. Politicians, stop it.
You don't have the monopoly.
No, please stop. Please stop. You know what? I'll tell you what. Yeah, these are show the pictures. No, one second.
Can I even show this?
I'm sorry. Listen, politicians, stop it. I'm embarrassed that I have to invite you people onto these panels to get answers. I'm embarrassed
that we have to then
that the doctors and the lawyers and the journalists on the panel don't get enough time to talk because of the bickering that happens between politicians.
No, we are not here for the sake of your invitation. Let us be respectful to one another. If you invite, you should allow rationalizing of time, and you don't be preachy that you are embarrassed to invite us.
You are not contributing to the debate. You are not contributing to the debate in any way. Please understand.
Taneja made it political.
Please understand, as a common man.
So you can't blame it on all politicians. Mr. Taneja started it. He started the bickering.
If you are embarrassed, don't invite us. We are not begging you to invite us. Please don't use this language.
Improving the hospitals.
Well,
but Mr. Taneja started
like that,
the bickering.
what should I do? You are blaming the whole party, and you don't want me. You don't.
Dr. Samir Dalwai, what do we need to do in order to make sure that no other children die?
Unfortunately, that we need to prevent children from dying. It's not very difficult to do that.
Yes.
Focus has to be very clear. If we have a focus on achieving a particular political agenda, we know how well our politicians go after it single-mindedly and achieve it overnight. The point is the administration, is the government keen to say that we will try our best that not a single child dies needlessly. We will pursue each and every child. We will see that each child gets better. If we have been short-staffed because of our government, previous government, whichever government, we will overnight fly in doctors from other states. We will fly in doctors from other parts of that own state. But we will see to it that each and every child in the hospital in Gorakhpur right now gets the best possible care ever. And there was a problem with, previously we flew an unfortunate lady down to Singapore too late. These children are too many to be flown out, for God's sake. Can we fly in some experts there? Can we fly in some medications? Can we fly in people who understand what they are doing?
And to add to what Dr. Dalwai is saying, that we should not only do it for the optics. This kind of little bit paint here and there, putting some few fans here and there, it's not going to solve the problem. This is a pandemic situation. This requires a proper systemic approach, sensitive approach, and it is a complete mindset change, and it is also at the physical level also. So therefore, that impartial judicial commission has to suggest measures also, that will also give measures, that mandate has to be given. That commission can also examine witnesses, because only the people who are suffering will be able to suggest. And why do you need somebody to tell an administrator that you need clean toilets, you need clean bed sheets, you don't need bed bugs, you need clean toilets, and therefore you don't need anyone to suggest. This is common sense, that in a hospital you have to have proper cleaning and proper beds and all these facilities available. Therefore, it is very important that this should be taken in a very positive way, and rather than the politicians trying to say that they inherited this and they inherited that, they should look to the next day. Because we cannot afford even one more death. It is so
Dr.
sad
Mehta,
to hear that eight
I'm going to give you the
today.
last word, but Rifat Javed has a point to make. Rifat Javed, go ahead.
Look, I'm glad that you countered, Mr. Taneja's data, but we have actually allowed him to, say something which is also wrong on 3 accounts. So he says, he's targeting other political parties, 27 saal UP Bihar. He doesn't remember that 27 saal also included BJP's government. So unless he is very proud of, so the BJP government's own failure in the last 27 years. He is saying there's something wrong, the hospital being a part of a college. He says he's from UP. He doesn't realize that in UP and Bihar, it's pretty common to have, renowned hospital being a part of the college. You go to Patna, you go to Muzaffarpur. I come from Muzaffarpur. We have all grown up, to go to those kind of hospitals. And by the way, those are very, very good hospitals. What I'm saying is that, there is an attitude issue here. Mr. Taneja keeps blaming the previous government. I haven't detected even a slightest of attitude by the government, which gives me a confidence. If I'm a father of a child and my child has been a victim because of the negligence of that hospital, it doesn't give me any confidence. I'll give me 30 seconds. I'll share one experience. Last year we went back to UK. And you won't believe that we had at least 10 reminders by the doctor that my so-and-so child had so-and-so vaccination due. Yes. Why is it that we could do it in UK, we can't do it here?
Yes.
How much more money do we need it? I don't think there's a resource issue here. I think that what we are grappling here is the attitude issue.
Okay, let me. I only have a quick this thing. I'm going to give that moment to Dr. Mehta. Dr. Mehta.
Yeah, I have this to say. Please remember, this is the collective image of India that's going to the world, and this is a collective reality. This is happening across the country. I please request all you politicians to come together, get your act together, work together, and uplift these poor children and the whole healthcare system. Healthcare is the most important part of the country. Get together, please don't fight, get your committees, and as rightly said, you don't need somebody hire up an impartial judge to tell you that you need clean water and clean bed sheets. Yes. So please come together and make India...
Right, I just want to bring a couple of voices in. TJ Kumar has been on the phone line from Mumbai for a while. He's been holding. TJ Kumar, go ahead. All right, we seem to have lost that call. Prince Kumar Patna, are you on the phone line?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's very shocking to see that there is a death of 63 children in Gorakhpur. I just want to draw the attention of the news channel, even the government, that this is not the first time that is happening in India or in any part of the Uttar Pradesh or Bihar. You can see the data if you are going to find out. This is very common in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh especially. So it is not only due to the lack of oxygen, it is also due to the lack of medical facilities, unhygienic conditions, even doctors not available on the duties. So I just want to draw the attention of the media persons and the politicians to not argue anything, just focus on their people get their proper medical facility. And I also want to praise some government like Maharashtra, Himachal Pradesh, and some part of, you can say, in the south, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, they are working very good. The government hospital is okay.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Very quickly. 10 seconds.
And request to all the countrymen is that let's realize which issue is most important for us. It's not all the other issues which the politicians are discussing. It's our health and the health of our children. If we all get together and force the government, whichever party it is, to look after the health care of our children and of all of us, I'm sure they will give it the first priority, and overnight you will get the best treatment in all the hospitals in India.
If elections were actually won or lost on healthcare and on education and on law and order, which is what it should be won or lost, instead we fight it on farm loan waivers and rivers of milk and ghee and slaughterhouses and temples. That's what elections are won and lost on in this country. But for the benefit of the government, the Indian Medical Association report says there are no other encephalitis treatment facilities in 16 districts outside of this hospital, which is why the hospital is under pressure, which is why there are problems. There is a shortage of pediatricians, nurses, medical personnel, public health centers and small health centers. You can fix that. The ICUs in 10 districts of the Purvanchal shut down because of lack of staff. Will the Yogi Adityanath government take note? Would you like us to send you a list? Would you like us to send you a checkbox, a to-do list that you can actually work on? Is there anything we can do? Maybe perhaps a regular phone call once a day reminding you about the fact that the hospital must be cleaned, that sweeping, swabbing and disinfectant is important, hand sanitizers, perhaps mosquito repellents, dogs should not be allowed inside of hospitals. These are all notes that I can give you as a layperson, but there are extremely qualified doctors in our country who would be more than happy to help you with more information. Why haven't we done audits? Why haven't you found out what's actually needed in the hospital? Why haven't you saved the children we lost today, 7 days after we lost the children on the 10th of August? Let's not allow our governments to distract us with questions about cows, with questions about national anthems, with questions about anything else, questioning our nationality or our nationalism. If you're truly a patriot, you would stop our babies from dying. Nothing else is more important, and shame on you if you placed anything ahead of this. Thanks for watching.